we've again been to many conventions, and I was trying to see who would I get that we haven't heard before. And we go to so many events where we talk about Gen X and Gen Y and all the young people. And for most of us, and Jeremy's done so much research on it, it's just a concept. It's a group of people. And for me, it's easy sometimes, like he does, to refer to your son as that, but you have a different relationship with your children, so they're not a typical Gen Xer, you think. So I wanted to find somebody else who he's a Gen Xer, right? That's him. And I do some work outside our industry as well, and I was attending some conferences which had nothing to do with real estate, and there was one which was a bunch of authors, another one was how to release a book, one was motivational talks, there was a Tony Robbins and a Jack Canfield and a John Maxwell. I was attending one of those events, and here's this little young guy next to me, right? And I found him amusing and interesting and funny, and I liked him, and we sat next to each other, and we chatted, and we clicked, and I thought, wow, cool. I said, how old was he? And at the time, I think he said he was 18. And I thought, wow, that is a long time ago that I was 18. And that was maybe 4 years ago. And we have somehow just struck up a friendship over a period of time where we have found a different level of excitement to learn from each other and to see the world through his eyes. So let me just read you. I don't know Logan that well. I mean, I've never visited his house. He hasn't visited my house. We're not socially friends from that point of view. But we probably see each other 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, and we're in regular Facebook contact. Logan has written 75 magazines. Now, I appreciate the number 75. I've written a lot of books. For somebody to write for 75 magazines is a lot. But if you said, well, I've written all of the Realtor magazines, no big deal. So I asked him, what did he write for? So Advertising Age, Forbes magazine, BMW, Wall Street Journal, Entrepreneur magazine, Computer World, PC World, Rob Report, Success magazine. And I thought, wow, I haven't even read all of them yet, let alone written for them. So it was pretty cool. We started many of the other interviews earlier this week and this morning where we could go back into, what were you like when you were a child? Well, I couldn't go too far back with him because he still is a child, right? He is still pretty young. But I said, what did you do before you were what you are now? And he's now only 22. And he said, well, I built my first computer at the age of 10. I started my own business at the age of 11. I turned it into a 5-figure profit. Now, remember Darren, when he told us his big numbers, right? I turned it into a profit by the age of 11, 12, and my dad asked me to put it down because I was competing with him. Right? So you're competing with your dad at 12 and he wants you to shut your business? I mean, some of us would say, let's encourage it if he can make more money. He started writing for national magazines at 14. I mean, what a young age, right? 14. He left home on 17, right? I'm going to do all by myself. And he has. He's been taking care of himself for, 5, 6 years, from 17. And he discovered a passion for space at the age of 18. Wow, right? Okay, good. And then I thought, all right, many of us have goals. We all dreamed at some stage, and sometimes it doesn't turn out the way we dreamed, right? It's hard to get to where we want to get. And then sometimes you speak to the individuals like Darren Hardy, which can look back and say, this is what I did. And you never know how it started for him. So I wanted to hear what his dreams were as a 22-year-old. I know what my dreams are, but I think my dreams are in many cases, I think very similar to yours. There are so many of you which when we chat, we're roughly the same age. We come from the same background. We've been in the industry a long time. We relate to each other. And I think we had similar lives in some regards. So his life doesn't sound like anything I've ever done. NASA's invited him to actually go inside the real space shuttle. They invited him. Right, 22. How do you get the invite, right? Richard Branson invited him to his home on Necker Island. I'd love to meet Richard Branson. Richard Branson invited him, and not for one 5-minute meeting, for 3 days. Right? Darren spoke to the guy for 60 minutes. This guy has spoken to for a weekend. Wow. Richard Branson actually had a quote which he gave me because we reached out. Looking at Logan is like looking into a mirror and seeing a young version of myself. Pretty nice quote to have if the quote was about me. He's one of the most outside-box thinkers I think you'll meet at this kind of age. And for me, he has become my symbol, my picture of what I think the Gen X and Gen Y generation represents.